And the very first thing we're going to push, I want to be very, very clear about this, I am not going to Washington, D.C. to put a Band-Aid on Obamacare. It doesn't need to be tweaked, it needs to be killed once and for all. The second thing we're going to do, because this country needs it, it deserves it, career politicians are killing this country. We will impose term limit legislation once and for all. Excuse me? Bring them home? Send them home? Yeah, you know, I heard that the other day. Somebody said, Senator, they said, what do you call a politician who's been in Washington 42 years? I said, I don't know what. They said, you call them home. Something else we've got to do for the sake of my children right here and the sake of yours, we've got to get control of the federal debt. We are spending too much money. Your country is $17.5 trillion in debt with $200 trillion in unfunded liabilities. We borrow 46 cents out of every dollar. If it is the position of the Republican Party in the state of Mississippi that we would send bad concrete back to Washington so we can keep spending my son's money, then we truly are lost as a country. But don't take the word of politicians. Bind them down with the chains of the Constitution. It is time for a balanced budget amendment to our Constitution. And lastly, with every vote that we cast, with every argument we make, we will restore the free market. The free market is the way to prosperity. No more government intervention in our lives. Let us have freedom for a change. Give us liberty for a change. We do that, Americans will prosper again. And that's what Mississippians need, is prosperity. So I'm going to wrap up with this. This fight is so much larger than me. It is so much larger. And it's been tough. I have prayed. I have stood. We've all taken the blows. And it's hurt. It's worth it. It's worth it to stand to defend the country. It's worth it to stand to restore a constitution. Other generations have had their fight. Other generations have had their sacrifice. Other generations have had to feel this pain. This is our generation's turn, and I would not trade places with anyone, because only a few generations have ever had the chance to restore liberty in its hour of maximum peril. Mississippi stands ready and willing. We are fighters. We do not disappoint. We are strong people, people of faith, people of the Constitution. The DNA of revolutionaries run in our veins. And I will not one day tell these two boys about a once great republic we were unable to save. We're not going to do that. Instead, we will do what Mississippians do. We'll fight. Will you be men and women of courage?
Yeah.
Will you be men and women of judgment?
Yeah.
Will you be men and women of integrity?
Yeah.
And will finally you be men and women of dedication? Rest assured that Mississippians are not the type of people that surrender or retreat.
Amen.
We are a vast and quarrelsome family, but we're proud. And every so often, often we're just stubborn enough to look at Washington, D.C. and say, leave us alone. Let us raise our families. Let us worship our God. Let us run our educational institutions. Give us back our God-given liberties. I tell you this, on June the 3rd, with your help, I want you to join me now because we're about to change the entire history of this country. On June the 3rd, you get out there, you make a difference, you call your friends, and guess what? All the way from Ellisville, Mississippi, Washington, D.C. is trembling right now. Let's send them